Thank you so much. Thank you, Governor, for your continued leadership in this space. And I would be remiss without also thanking Florida's Chief Financial Officer, Blaise Ingoglia, as well as the Senate leadership, past President, former President Pasadomo, current President Albritton, and future President Jim Boyd have been steadfast defenders of the reforms that now Floridians are seeing the benefit of. And I can tell you personally, day in and day out, it is not always the most pleasant experience to be the one that is deciding whether or not to raise rates. But the news over the past few years has been tremendous, and it is accelerating and it is increasing due to the reforms that were put in place. The $1 billion, I want to commend Progressive particularly for coming to the table first. To work with us, to negotiate this, to get dollars back to consumers faster, to avoid those statutory triggers and avoid a fight. Everybody here has just done the right thing. And we look forward, as we're talking to other companies now, to begin that same process. And all these discounts, as the governor mentioned in that space, that reduction, that credit back to consumers, is on top of an unprecedented period in Florida's history where we are seeing rates go down in the auto space at a pace we have not seen in decades. And that is directly attributable to the litigation reforms. What Florida did in this space, it did not eliminate the option for consumers to litigate against their insurer. It restored rationality to that space in the same manner that exists currently in 49 other states. It was tremendously difficult to get through the legislature. The governor worked for multiple years with the Office of Insurance Regulation, with others, to move that ball forward. I don't know if there's another governor that could have done it, frankly, but it has been a tremendous success. And at the same time, we're not just leaving consumers in the lurch. We are moving forward on, at the same time that tort reform was passed, insurer accountability was passed. And so that includes tremendous new resources for the office that we have put to use in ensuring that insurers are acting appropriately following claims. So far this year, we have closed over 100 investigations into insurer activity. We've closed dozens of market conduct examinations. We've fined insurers more than in the past decade, in this past year. And we have returned over, on top of these other things, where we've identified issues where consumers should have been paid more or a different amount, we've returned that in the form of restitution to consumers to ensure that they are made whole. When a catastrophe strikes, it is often the worst day of a consumer's life. When they've lost their home, when they have nowhere to place their family, when they're not sure about the future. And the promise of insurance is that they will be there to make those consumers whole. And we're going to continue to be on the back end, making sure that those companies are doing the right thing. We'll continue to ramp up accountability smartly, so it doesn't scare off competition, but ensures that we have a vibrant marketplace that our consumers can rely on. On the property front, the governor mentioned Florida had the lowest increase in the cost of property insurance in the country last year. And I expect it to be a similar trend this year. And that, again, is directly attributable to tort reform. At the same time, imagine a situation 4 years ago where we had 3 major hurricane strikes on the state of Florida at the same time of having the lowest rate increase in the country, where other states such as Nebraska are increasing by 2-fold, 3-fold. It truly is an amazing testament to this hard journey of doing the right thing to fix this marketplace, not just for those of us that live here now, but for our kids, for other people that move here in the future, for everyone else. It is a long-term, never-ending story in some respects to keep these markets vibrant. But the tort reforms stand among those that have happened in the past, such as the creation of the CAT Fund, such as Citizens, such as the public model, such as all these things that Florida has done ahead of other states to handle this problem. And so I'm hopeful that as we move into this next legislative session that we can talk about, I think the governor has expressed in the past, he's more than happy to talk with the legislature about things that move the ball forward in insurance for consumers. He mentioned My Safe Florida Home already, and some other things. I'm hopeful that we can move the ball forward on things that will meaningfully add value to the consumers in the state and move past this trial bar issue that exists among bad acting attorneys in the space. That $1 billion, much of it that is now going to the pockets of consumers, would have been going to those attorneys' wallets. And that is the bottom line. And so we'll continue to see that success. We'll continue to see the good news emerge. I'm very optimistic about reinsurance, which is somewhat a complicated space, but it's essentially insurance for insurance companies. Florida is heavily reliant on reinsurers for our catastrophe risk. I expect that market to show continued signs of improvement following this year, which will lower the cost in a rapid way for all consumers of property insurance in the state. And so I want to just thank everyone again. Thank you, Governor. Thank you to the House, to the Senate, who have stood by and kept these reforms in place. And I hope we can continue that trend and do great things for Floridians.
Great.